quick question for everyone. Do you have to be religious to know God? Do you have to be religious to go to heaven? Short answer to that is no. Because what is religion anyway? First of all, before we quickly get to that, what is religion? Religion, short answer to that, is salvation by works. Religion is simply salvation by works. We can do all these outward forms of religion, like many people do. Go to church, pay tithe, and pray 6 times a day. Do all the forms of religion, but they lack the heart. Because we're told by Jesus, actually, that they glorify Him. Many people glorify Him with their mouth, but their hearts are far from Him. So we can do all these outward practices and everything, but our heart cannot be in it, basically. That's kind of almost the same as going to work and maybe, just to get a paycheck, or go to work to just to pass time by, kind of, just to get a paycheck, kind of like that. But our heart is not in the business. Our heart is not in our work. We just go there and do whatever we're told, do the job, and that's it. The hearts, we don't care about our work, we don't care about the job. We just want to get paid, and that's it. So it's kind of like that. So it's somewhere along those lines. So that's kind of the same as being religious. Salvation by works. We do all these things to appease God, to hopefully get into heaven, but our hearts are far from Him. Or the people that do these things, their hearts are far from Him. So now, who and what started religion? This all started at the Tower of Babel. The origin of religion could easily be traced back to the Tower of Babel, with the Nimrod and wanting to build a sky temple or a sky tower to reach heaven right after the flood, following his father's footsteps, his father's Ham's, or actually Cush's footsteps, basically. Because Cush put the first foot to turn on God. After the flood, Cush is son of Ham, and then Cush became Nimrod, and Nimrod went on to build this Tower of Babel to reach to heaven, because this Tower of Babel, or that Tower of Babel, they built symbolizes salvation by works, so we can work our own way to heaven. It simply symbolizes that the whole Tower of Babel, the whole theme behind it, the attitude behind it, the motive, is that we can work ourselves to heaven. We don't need God to get into heaven. We can get into heaven on our own terms. Basically, we can basically have a lifestyle or live a life without God. We can decide what's good and bad for ourselves without God. So it's good and bad. So, and out of that one religion, the Nimrod religion that he started, of course, polytheism, which the worship of many gods, also is rooted in or springs from the Tower of Babel. Polytheism, the belief in many gods, which of course is birthed by paganism. Paganism is all polytheism births paganism, and these pagan practices and beliefs, celebration of holidays, and all that kind of stuff, Easter, Christmas, and etc. Of course, and all these different gods. You always have for example, the sun god, Nimrod, because when Nimrod died, they claimed that he became the sun god when he died, and then his wife Semiramis became the moon goddess, and then his son Tammuz became the sun god, or like the sun god, or whatever they said, basically. Or he claimed he was the promised Messiah. They claimed he was the promised Messiah at first, but then he was killed on his 40th birthday, and he spent 40 days weeping for Tammuz. That's actually recorded in the Bible. So Semiramis claimed to have become the moon god or goddess. That name named Ishtar, which of course is sprung from Easter, is sprung from the word Easter, is sprung from Ishtar. So throughout all of history, you have these same themes. The same themes. You have the God the Father theme, and then you have the sun god in this case, Father. Then you have the Queen of Heaven, or the Queen, and then you have the Son, like a female figure, basically, and then you have the son. So, the promised Messiah was promised way back in Genesis, way back in the Garden of Eden, that there was going to be a Messiah coming through a virgin. Now we know God the Father is of course God the Father, and then we have Mary, who Jesus of course is born from, and then we have the Son of God, which of course is Christ, the real Son of God. But yet, throughout all these cultures, throughout history, and from Egypt on up to today, we have Ra, the sun god. These are Egyptian gods, by the way, Egyptian names. Ra, the sun god, the father, Isis, the mother, and then you have Horus, the sun god. You can actually look all this up. Actually, look it up. I'll post links and descriptions down below so that you guys can research this for yourselves and research all these different things. And of course, you have the Greece gods, Zeus, or Artemis and Adonis. Artemis being the queen or Mary figure, and then Adonis, the sun. The Roman gods, Jupiter, Diana, Apollo, and it just goes on and on. Of course, you have the Norse gods, or Nordic Norse gods, Odin, Jor, and Thor, and so forth. But if you notice the pattern, it's always the same. That there is, the truth behind that is, there is no multiple gods. It's all one God, one false God that they serve. It goes all the way back to Nimrod. Going back to Nimrod, there are no multiple gods. It's really just one God with different names. One false God, just repackaged in different names. Thus, different religions. All these different religions here. You have these, all these universal religions, Christianity, everything here. So, all these religions, these different religions. Now, why is that? Why do we have these different religions and denominations? Well, one answer to that is, the simple answer to that is confusion. Satan has created all these different denominations and religions to cause confusion. Basically, to make confusion. He sprinkles a little truth here and there among these different religions, among these different denominations, to confuse people. He mixes truth with error, because that's how Satan usually works. He mixes a little truth with lies, basically. Truth and error mixed together. He won't just tell a plain lie that people could be, not going to believe it. He has to mix some truth in there. Whereas God can only use truth, because God is the truth. He is the way, the truth, and the light. So God can only use truth. Satan uses truth. He mixes truth with lies. Just like mixing poison in water, basically. You want to be 99% water, one drop of poison, it's going to make the whole water poison. Bad. So that's why we have all these religions. So one does not have to be religious to know God, because the whole thing is all about relationship with God. Because there's many people that's going to be in heaven that were not religious, but they knew God. They loved Jesus. They accepted Jesus, and they lived for him by his commandments. They lived godly lives. They lived for him, and they lived by his commandments. Because it's only those that keep his commandments, as we're told, are the ones that Jesus will know. Those are the ones that's going to make it in heaven. Those that keep his commandments. It isn't about keeping traditional religious traditions, something like that. They say that. They say only those that keep his commandments will enter into the kingdom for that. So, only those that keep his commandments. Matthew 7:21 verse 23. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom, but he that doeth, emphasize doeth, the will of my Father, which is in heaven, keeping his commandments, do it right by him. All those that do his will enter into heaven. Many will say in that day, the judgment, Lord, we have not prophesied in thy name, have in thy name cast out devils, in thy name done many wonderful works. Hence the religious outward or traditions, the religious stuff, all the religious, the tithe paying, maybe going to church, all the things those things are good, of course, but, once again, their heart wasn't in it. They may have done all those things, but their heart wasn't in it. And Then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. So it's only those that doeth the will of God. Those that doeth the will of God. Jesus say, if you love him, keep his commandments. If you love him, keep his commandments. And those that keep his commandments, he knows. So you cannot know God without keeping his commandments. And though you might do all the outward religious things, traditions, but at the end of the day, it's all about relationship, love, of course, relationship with God, relationship with Jesus. That's the only way to heaven. And those that keep his commandments will know him. And if you love him, you will keep his commandments, as we're told. Those that do it this will. He didn't say anything about religious traditions. The only thing we're told by Jesus to keep is communion. That's the only thing we're told that we should keep. Do this in remembrance of him. That's communion service. To take the grape juice that represents his blood, and eating the bread to represent his body. We're supposed to take that, of course. That's the only thing we're told to remember him by. But the rest of the stuff, it's all about relationship. So it is not religion, it's relationship that will get us into heaven. So once again, I'm going to leave these links down below. I really hope this helps many of you out there, because once again, it's all about relationship and not religion. I really hope this helps, because I want to post links down below for you guys to research about all origin of religions and everything else. I'll post these links down below. So for that, God bless, and I will talk to you next time.